Hi everybody, FPL Witty here, back out here in the beautiful sunny Yorkshire countryside once again for another of my regular 15-minute FPL videos. We try and do these once every game week, so hope you're well, hope you had a good game week 23. I'm recording this on the back of game week 23, recording this on Thursday morning, so we've just had the Arsenal-Manchester City game. So we'll be having a look back at the last game week, touching briefly on my game week, which was not a pretty one this week, I'm afraid. And then we'll be having a look ahead as well, because we've got absolutely loads to think about now. We've got a raft of blank game weeks and double game weeks. We'll all be thinking about when to play our free hits and bench boosts and wild cards. It's going to be a crazy period of FPL really coming up over the remainder of the season, so we need to keep very close to that one. But yeah, just a quick look back first at the game week 23. So in terms of the Premier League title race itself, it was billed as a bit of a significant one really, of course, because with Arsenal dropping points in the first game against Brentford in game week 23, it meant that we had a hugely important game between the top two. And we talk about the proverbial 6-pointers, but of course if Arsenal had won that game against Manchester City, they would have been 6 points clear with a game in hand, so arguably almost having one hand on the title. But as it happens, it went the other way. Manchester City won it, and now they're ahead on goal difference, so a huge swing in the title race. So we'll see how Arsenal can respond to that. So only 1 point from 6 for Arsenal over these 2 games of game week 23, while City got 2 wins, so hugely significant game and game week really for Manchester City. But elsewhere in game week 23, in terms of the controversy with VAR, that was huge, wasn't it? We had, I think, what are perceived as 3 incorrect calls really. We had lines drawn in the wrong place, lines not drawn at all for offside calls. We had a penalty at Chelsea that should have been given, and I think consistently has been given in that exact situation all season. So we had 3 blatantly wrong VAR calls really, so that's certainly put the cat amongst the pigeons this week, hasn't it? I think certainly with the way the Arsenal-Manchester City title race is spilling out, for Arsenal to see Tony score from an offside position, that's going to work as well, isn't it? So hugely controversial week with VAR. But outside of that, there was a lot of Haaland triple captainers stepped up to the plate, wasn't there, this week? So a lot played triple captain on Haaland in game week 20, and then of course there was a load of people played triple captain on Rashford in game week 22 with great success. But there was a lot held back for Haaland in this game week 23 as well, so that was a real roller coaster of emotions, wasn't it, as a Haaland triple captainer. First game he got an assist, but he missed a couple of chances. City were awarded a penalty. We all expected him to step up, and of course he was feeling a bit of an injury. He passed it to Mahrez instead, so he didn't get the penalty. Then he got taken off at half time. There were doubts about whether he'd make the second match, but he did. City looked to have been awarded a second penalty, only for VAR to rule it out. And eventually Haaland did eventually get a goal. So if you were a Haaland triple captainer, certainly a huge range of emotions, and a 10-point gain on standard Haaland captainers in the end. So slight improvement on the 8-point gain that Haaland triple has got in game week 20. But it seems that Rashford triplers in game week 22 were the big winners with their 20-point gain, isn't it? So certainly lots of implications for some of the mini leagues as well. So well done if you were on Rashford last week. I think you won the triple captain battle in recent weeks. But outside that, we had lots of points left on benches this week, didn't we? We had Tony, Luke Shaw, Almiron. I've seen many a team with 20, 25 points on benches this week, so in hindsight, it would have been a good week to play a bench boost this week, wouldn't it? All these bench boosts in a double game week. Some huge scores on benches this week, but that's how it goes. And aside from that, we had Newcastle conceding again. This impregnable Newcastle defence finally been busted, I think. Kepa failed to deliver a monster haul, which he's been doing over recent weeks. Mo Salah got a goal in the Mersey derby, and he's warming up nicely for a double game week in game week 25. So yeah, certainly lots to think about. And of course, we had a managerial sacking at Southampton, so certainly wasn't a dull game week, was it? In terms of my game week 23, a bit of a disaster week, to be honest, really. After two very nice green arrows, I've undone all the good work this week. So I only had 3 returners this week, and 2 of those were Haaland and Rashford, who were ranked neutral. So it was just Kevin De Bruyne, really, who rescued me from an even worse fate. I did the De Bruyne to Bruno, back to KDB, hokey cokey. They say these things don't often work out, but bizarrely it really did, didn't it? So I gained 23 points over the 2 weeks by going De Bruyne to Bruno for his double and back to De Bruyne for his double. So certainly a bit of successful hokey cokey there, but I'm clutching at straws because not a lot else went right for me this week. I had 3 Arsenal players for the double and they all blanked. Ben White, who was left out of the game in the second game, and Martinelli, who blanked twice, 6 successive blanks now, and he got hauled off twice. He's a real problem now. If you're still stuck with Martinelli like me, that is a problem. And Odegaard, so 3 Arsenal blanks in a double game week. And I also owned a Kanji for the double game week, and he was benched twice. So bit of a disaster, really. Harry Kane failed to score when he always piles the goals in against Leicester, doesn't he? And Mitrovic, 5 successive blanks at home to Forest. So real struggle for me this week. The killer blow really was leaving Luke Shaw points on the bench, but to be honest, I don't think I could have done that a lot different, really. I'd got I got an Arsenal defensive doubler, a Manchester City defensive doubler, and Trippier. So on the face of it, I had to play those players, really. So certainly whacked me in the face. And then some of my biggest ranked threats as well. Mahrez stepped up to take a penalty he shouldn't have had, and Nketiah and Saka combined for a controversial penalty against me as well. So it's just one of those weeks that hit me in the face like a wet fish, unfortunately. I was down from 120 to 198 this week, so we need to just try and get that one out the head and move on, don't we? So looking ahead, yeah, we've got lots and lots to think about now with double game weeks and blank game weeks. So we've actually got a normal game week 24 coming up, and there won't be many of those over the remainder of the season. Game week 25 that follows, it's going to be interesting because we've got 4 teams blanking and 4 teams doubling. So that's one to pick your way around. We've known for quite a while, really, about the likely game week 25 blanking teams: Manchester United, Newcastle, Brentford and Brighton. So I hope you've been watering down your coverage of those teams and you're not leaving yourself too short in game week 25. But in addition to the blankers, we've got 4 teams doubling as well. We've got Arsenal, Everton, Liverpool and Wolves. So we've got 4 blankers and 4 doublers. So hopefully, if my plan comes together, I've been a bit cautious in holding back on the game week 25 blank teams. I should be able to get 11 players out this week. I've only got 3 players now who blank in 25, so I can put those on the bench. And my transfers over the next couple of weeks should give me 5 doublers as well. So I'm in a reasonable place for that. We'll see how that one goes, although I do have an injury to Patterson that might need a bit of surgery there as well. So, but looking beyond that, we've now got double game weeks in game week 27 for Brighton, Brentford and Crystal Palace and Southampton, and we've got what is the biggest blank game week of the lot in game week 28, when it's the FA Cup quarter-finals. At the moment we've only got 4 confirmed fixtures going ahead, but that will be 5. Which 5, it will depend on the outcome of the Leeds against Fulham game in the FA Cup. So I think when we're looking ahead now, the problem we've got is that when we're preparing for game week 27 and the doubles that we're going to get in 29, those teams who double in 27, they're going to be blanking in 28. So if you're trying to prepare yourself to cover the blank game week 28, you're restricting yourself on the doubles. So we've got this real counterbalance at the moment, and that's the big problem. So that's where the free hit is likely to come into play. I think a lot of people will either go one way or the other. They'll either free hit in the blank game week 28 or free hit in the big double game week 29. So I think it will be very team dependent, but of course we won't really know until we've had the FA Cup 5th round, which is in the midweek between 25 and 26. So it's very, very difficult to plot a chip strategy at the moment until we know the outcome of the FA Cup ties, which lie in the midweek of game week 25. So very, very difficult to plot a way forward. So I've got a couple of scenarios where I likely free hit in game week 28. I've only got 5 players there currently, although if the Liverpool-Fulham game ends up dropping in there, that could change things. So I could well be playing my free hit in game week 28. I've got one scenario where I actually play a wild card in 27 to set up the doubles in 27 and 29 and free hit in the blank in between. So that will be an eventful 3 weeks. Or I could look just to play my free hit in 28 or 29 and play the wild card in 33, 34 with a bench boost. So certainly lots to ponder, but as I say, we won't know at all really until the outcome of the FA Cup ties between 25 and 26. If you want to get your head a bit more around the blanks and doubles, then I write articles for Fantasy Football Geek, and I've got a rather detailed article just come out today. So if you have a look at that on the Fantasy Geek website, that will give you a lot more clues around the blanks and doubles, help you to plan ahead. So you can follow my articles there. You can also follow me on Twitter at FPL Witty, and I'll be out there here doing these videos once a week as well. So as I said, we've got a normal game week 24 coming up now, so captaincy will be interesting. We got Erling Haaland playing Nottingham Forest, but there'll be perhaps question marks about some of these Manchester City players ahead of the Champions League, what minutes they'll get. But we've got Marcus Rashford at home to Leicester, we've got Harry Kane at home to West Ham, we've got Saka for Arsenal. So there are alternatives, so I think we could see a bit of a split this week. That will be interesting. In terms of my transfers, I think wherever possible you need to be probably rolling the transfer this week and giving yourself 2 into that complicated multi-blank, multi-double game week 25. But my plan will be to maybe switch Kevin De Bruyne to Mo Salah for his double in 25, and probably bring in Tarkowski of Everton to give me an extra doubler in game week 25, take him out for a player who's blanking in 25. So that'll be my loose plan, but the only curveball really at the moment for me is this Martinelli thing. So I'm pondering whether or not to bite the bullet and take a -4 to get Martinelli to Saka, a move that many made last week. But my only cash cows to do that will be Harry Kane or Mitrovic. So certainly lots and lots to think about, but I won't be making any decisions until closer to the deadline. So yeah, good luck in game week 24. Hope you find a way to navigate your way through the blanks and doubles. I'll be back next week, hopefully to report a better week, and good luck with the upcoming game week, and as they say in Barnsley, I'll sit it.